hold on to the ball, fumbling the ball, making stupid decisions, throwing dumb interceptions, talking about respect. He's after his respect, etc., etc. We all know that the Raiders walked into this season with Derek Carr on the clock. He's got something to prove. Are they going to stick with him? Is he their quarterback of the future or not? And then you go out there, still in the playoff picture, and you wet the bed like that. It was a disgraceful performance on the part of the Raiders. They played down to the competition. Raheem Morris is doing a hell of a job with the Atlanta Falcons, by the way. Arthur Blank might want to consider keeping him as the head coach, by the way, after the season. But the bottom line is, when you look at the Raiders right now, to perform the way that they did yesterday with all of those damn turnovers, all of those damn penalties, John Gruden was absolutely right to call himself out and the coaching staff because of their undisciplined tendencies. And Derek Carr, after all of these years, still does not know how to stop the bleeding and just find a way to pull it out. I was sick by the performance that I saw the Raiders put forth yesterday, considering the fact that I thought they were my sleeper. I really was.
Well, the Raiders showed, you're right, that they're not emotionally ready. I mean, that happens. It was a trap game for them in retrospect, right? And they're not ready for it. You're right. Maybe it's a learning experience. But Stephen A. Smith, you don't get to say Raiders even if they are your sleeper pick. Stephen A., there's such an obvious low-hanging fruit choice here. The Cowboys got people's hopes up on Thanksgiving. They were playing better. They just beat Minnesota, who looked pretty good. Minnesota just run through the NFC North. They're playing Washington, who's perceived, maybe are they the worst team in the NFC least, right? And everything is set up for them. Ravens-Steelers gets canceled. They're the marquee game. No one cares about Detroit. You and I are both on TV talking about Detroit shouldn't be on Thanksgiving. And what happens to the Cowboys? A total meltdown. How is that not the biggest disappointment?
Well, Max, here's why you're wrong. That last word in the question was Sunday, not Thursday. And the two words before the word Sunday was the word disappointing. And why would I be disappointed in the Cowboys sticking up the joint? Of course I'm not disappointed. I couldn't be happier. Why would I be disappointed?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hey, listen, Max, first of all, Max, remember, I told you the Cowboys are going to do that. We had that conversation, and I said, Max, listen now, everything's set up. We're going to be looking at the Cowboys like they're supposed to win. It's against the Washington football team, and what will they do? I told you it would happen. And the Raiders are extremely disappointing, but the team I'm most disappointed in is the Los Angeles Rams. The Los Angeles Rams go to Tampa Bay on Monday night. They play well in every phase of the game. They win the football game. They put themselves not only with an opportunity to be in the driver's seat of the NFC West headed down the stretch, but in the driver's seat to challenge the New Orleans Saints to be the number one representative in the NFC playoffs. And you're playing against a backup quarterback in Nick Mullins. You're playing against a team, San Francisco, who did get Richard Sherman back on the outside, but is still decimated by injuries defensively, and you lose. You lose at home. You give up the ball late in the game, and you allow a 2-minute drive, a 4th-and-1 conversion by Juszczyk. You allow an easy field goal by Robbie Gould to beat you. You can't do that. You're in a fight to have an opportunity to represent the NFC West, to win the NFC West, which is probably the toughest division in football. And you go against Kyle Shanahan and this team that has really owned Sean McVay recently, and you throw it away. You don't give yourself an opportunity to be in the driver's seat. And now this team has to fight down the stretch. And though the Raiders were disappointing because they were blown out by the Falcons that way, and I agree the Cowboys stunk it up, but I already figured that. I felt like the Los Angeles Rams had an opportunity to show that they could possibly be the best team in the NFC. And with a showing like that against the San Francisco 49ers, you put yourself back in limbo.
Hey, guys, one last thing, unless you want to jump in here.
Well, if we're limiting it
let's
to
just
Sunday,
talk Monday Night Football
Ryan,
real quick.
Stephen
Max,
right.
I'll start with you here on this one. So Wentz is expected to start, Max, but we heard Jalen Hurts is getting first-team reps with the first team. Do the Eagles have any chance to beat Seattle? Max?
They need to start Hurts. They need to start Hurts because actually the worst thing that could happen for Wentz and the Eagles is they beat Seattle with Wentz. Wentz has got to be rebuilt from the bottom up or from the top, from the head down. And they must bench him to hold him accountable or this will continue. His poor play will continue.
The only way that the Philadelphia Eagles have a chance to beat Seattle is Carson Wentz. And it's for us to see the old Carson Wentz, for us to see the Carson Wentz who got that deal that Max said was too much money. He needs to play hero ball. He needs to be the guy we watch take backups and XFL players and practice squad players to the playoffs last year. You put Jalen Hurts in, you do exactly what Doug Peterson said it would be happening if you made the change. You showed them that you are giving up on the season. And right now ain't that time.
Stephen A?
That's exactly what I was going to say. I have absolutely positively nothing else to add to what Ryan said. That is exactly my take. Your only shot is for Carson Wentz to play hero ball, and I'm not saying that's going to work, but you have no shot with Jalen Hurts against the Seattle Seahawks. No way.
Perfect.
I'm a Giants fan.
Max, you want to teach us what a cliff is again?
The players, and obviously Patrick at quarterback, they always have an opportunity to win.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm on his level yet. For me, I just try to be myself.
Gunning it long, Tyreek Hill pulls it in at the 20, touchdown! One of the greatest first quarters in National Football League history. Chris Jones and Tom Brady, face mask to face mask. Tyreek Hill over the shoulder, the cheetah putting on a clinic.
Brady's been picked off twice in this game now. Looks, fires a pass, touchdown Buccaneers! And the Bucs are within 3 of the Chiefs.
Throws it late, caught! Tyreek Hill! Game, set, and match!
Look who's here, my guy Ryan Clark. Ryan, good to see you. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. Tom Brady's day, guys, wasn't the best yesterday. 2 interceptions, 7 over his last 4 games so far. Stephen A., are you starting to get a little worried about Tom and Bruce Arians, that partnership?
Well, yes, only from the standpoint of their particular relationship or whether or not they're on the same page. I still believe in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, even though their pass defense gives me cause to pause. But the biggest thing for me is Bruce Arians. I think they need to run the ball a little bit more. You got Ronald Jones, you got Leonard Fournette back there. Run the football a little bit more. Do something with them, number one. Number two, I think it's one of those situations where, unfortunately, you see Bruce Arians saying stuff about practice and things of this nature and how we got to work out chemistry. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? You know, you've had plenty of time. You know that Tom Brady was going to be there. You've had plenty of time to work with him where y'all should be a bit more in sync than you appear to be at this particular moment in time. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it can certainly be better, particularly against stiffer competition, which has not been the case. And so when I look at it, clearly Tom Brady can't be throwing 7 interceptions in the last 4 games. It's very un-Tom Brady-like. It's inexcusable. It's unacceptable. I think he knows that. But I also think that we have to look at the fact that he's trying to make up for some deficiencies on the part of the defensive side of the ball in terms of the points that they're willing to give up, ranking 24th against the pass. Some of the things they've done schematically that has been a bit awry that NFL aficionados like Ryan Clark and others have pointed out between Byron Leftwich and Bruce Arians. And then for Bruce Arians to go in post-game conferences and to say some of the things that he says at times, you're just looking at him and he's like, what the hell are you talking about? Because as a head coach, you have far more responsibilities than just the quarterback. And when you see some of the things that are going on collectively with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, each week we're pointing to things that Tom Brady would not have had to deal with if he were playing in New England, because we know that the meticulous tendencies of Bill Belichick would have had those things covered and he would not have had to concern himself with such things. That's not the case now, and that's what I
Bye.